Investigators think a driver fell asleep at the wheel, which led to a crash on Interstate 64.
It happened this morning in the eastbound lanes of I64 near the Scott-Fayette County line. Police say the driver of a car fell asleep, went off the road, then sideswiped a truck with a crane attached. The driver of the car was taken to the hospital, but investigators don't think his injuries were serious. No one in the truck was injured. Eastbound I64 was closed for a short time.
New tonight, the city of Versailles could be growing. Our news partners at the Herald Leader report the Versailles City Council will consider a proposal to annex 336 acres of farmland near the new Kroger marketplace that just opened. The land is bordered by US 60 and Paynes Mill Road. Right now it's zoned for agricultural use. It's an unusual investigation. Was a Lexington boy's death caused by too much vinegar? What a medical examiner testified in court today.
A Montgomery County couple has a new road running by their home after flooding left pieces of pavement in their yard.
What we've learned about a phone outage now impacting thousands of people in Kentucky and other states.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. We've been here before. Tonight, another round of storms has fired up across parts of Kentucky, and some of them have been strong and severe.
Heavy rain could cause some problems tonight. We begin with Chief Meteorologist right now for us. Chris?
Yeah, Defender lining up with these big-time clusters of storms, similar to what we have seen over the past couple of days. These storms are packing a lot of lightning and packing a lot of heavy rains as well. Let's get to Defender. It is busy after all, especially now along and south of Interstate 64. The lightning has been insane with these storms over the past several days. Flash flooding a possibility here in the southern parts of Pulaski County, parts of Wayne, Laurel, and McCreary counties too. Flash flood warning is out until 8:15, though the strongest part of that storm is now just to the south of the Pulaski County area, and it is really a shell of its former self. Very heavy storm going up here along Corbin, along I-75 near Corbin, I should say. Other strong thunderstorms, Lebanon into the Casey County area, trying to connect now with storms that are just to the northeast from Perryville into parts of Danville that extends to the east across Madison County, and this line is now beginning to ramp up. Look at the lightning along this. All across Boyle County, keep an eye on the creeks and streams. Likewise, far northern parts of Lincoln County that extends over toward the Paint Lick area. Parts of Garrett County, just to the south of Richmond, down toward Berea. Skies are really barking at us. Heading over toward Estill County as of now. Thunder and lightning getting ready to increase. Then look at this little band of some thunderstorms right along the Mountain Parkway corridor. That extends into far southeastern Kentucky as well. And additional thunderstorms are right along the Kentucky-Virginia border counties. Everything again coming at us from northwest to southeast, where we have a front that is stationary. Now we get a big area of low pressure to develop along that front. It's going to move in here, guys, on Thursday. Flash flood watch is already out in anticipation of heavier rains coming with that low. We'll talk about how much may fall just ahead.
Chris, thank you. Her defense attorneys call it the first case of its kind in this country. Tonight we're learning more about the investigation into a Lexington mother accused of killing her son by giving him too much vinegar.
Police charged Dia Adams with reckless homicide. Her son died in 2011. He was 5 years old at the time. During a hearing today, Adams' attorneys tried to convince the judge to keep some testimony out of the upcoming trial. Garrett Weimer is at the live desk for us with our top story at 6. Garrett?
His parents say 5-year-old Joseph Adams was born with an intestinal disease and had most of his colon removed. So they watched what he ate, especially dairy. On December 3rd, 2011, they discovered Joseph had milk, chocolate sprinkles, butter, and maybe a juice box. So his parents gave him a glass of vinegar. What happened next to lead up to his death is a matter of dispute. But did that vinegar kill him?
Yes, I performed an autopsy on Mr. Joseph Adams on
What day and year?
December the 4th, 2011.
At issue in the hearing, the defense trying to block testimony from the prosecution's expert witness when it comes to trial. That witness, the medical examiner who performed Joseph's autopsy.
I believe his cause of death is, and I still hold to this, and it's metabolic acidosis with cellular necrosis of mucosal linings. What that is the death of the cells of the of the small bowel and portion of the large bowel due to forced ingestion of vinegar.
Dr. Rolfe says she found cuts and bruises on his body. Signs, she says, point to his mother forcing him to drink 2 more doses of vinegar even after he started to fight back. Rolfe described what Joseph's organs looked and smelled like when she performed the autopsy, but the defense argues it's not because of vinegar.
When you describe a massive amount of vinegar, what are you talking about? How much?
Actually, can I give you an exact volume?
The defense team called its own expert to testify today. He's a gastroenterologist who says the medical examiner's findings are not possible, that Joseph's death cannot be blamed on vinegar. He says he believes Joseph Adams might have died of asphyxiation. At the live desk, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Garrett, thank you. Now, that hearing lasted more than 3.5 hours, and it is still not over. It recessed this afternoon and will continue again tomorrow.
If you're an AT&T customer, this is probably affecting you right now. A phone outage has left thousands of people without service tonight. AT&T leaders say that both wireless and landline service is affected by the outage. Customers in the Lexington and Louisville areas have reported not having service, and the outage has been reported in much of Tennessee and Alabama too. AT&T leaders say they're not sure what's caused the outage or how long it will have to take to restore service. We'll try to keep you updated on that situation. A round of slow-moving storms last night causing some damage and triggering flash flooding north and east of Lexington. Montgomery County was one of the hardest hit areas. As Victor Puente tells us, a couple found pieces of pavement in their yard after flooding.
Sitting in this SUV, Danny Willoughby watched as several inches of rain fell on his property and filled up a nearby creek.
I came up quick, about 20 minutes. It was up and over the road.
He saw the water go over the road and eventually under.
He just watching their stuff go down the creek. Figured 20 years, I thought it might got the house, but it didn't.
But it did get some traction on that pavement, ripping up large sections and depositing them in Willoughby's yard. On nearby Quisenberry Road, it was a similar story, with that pavement ending up in the creek. It wasn't just the road that got washed away. A car in Danny Willoughby's yard was picked up by that water and flung across his property.
It came from up here, and I watched it go through the yard. And I could see the license plate. I said, well, there goes one of the cars, and got my chicken coop.
The chickens managed to escape the coop, but the structure was a goner. As for that pavement,
I just figured I'd get a new blacktop.
Willoughby says county officials told him he's responsible for whatever lands in his yard. In Bath County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Dispatchers say they did have a rescue last night in Montgomery County after a family's car was stuck in high water.
A storm caused some frightening moments at a fair in Mason County last night. Strong winds brought down tents and even damaged some rides at the Germantown Fair. People at the fair said they rushed to find shelter as the storm moved through. One woman told us her husband was trying to take down his tent.
He was holding down the canopy, and the wind picked the canopy and him up and destroyed our canopy. It was scary. It really scared me. I didn't think I'd ever see him again.
Fair organizers say no one was injured during last night's storm. They say tonight's events will go on as planned. Today, Governor Beshear asked for a federal disaster declaration for flooding in parts of Kentucky last month. His letter to President Obama asked for a major disaster be declared so flood victims in Carter, Johnson, Rowan, and Trimble counties can receive individual federal assistance. The Kentucky Division of Emergency Management and the Federal Emergency Management Agency have already been assessing flood damage in recent weeks. He is now a wanted man. Tonight, police are trying to track down a Laurel County truck driver investigators say caused a crash that killed 6 people in Tennessee.
A Hamilton County, Tennessee grand jury indicted 39-year-old Benjamin Brewer on 6 counts of vehicular homicide. Police say his tractor trailer crashed into other vehicles in Chattanooga back in June. As Mark Barber tells us, Brewer has faced many traffic-related charges in the past.
This semi-driver worked for Cool Runnings Express Incorporated, a truck driving company listed here on Somerset Road in Laurel County. We've been calling them, asking why Benjamin Brewer was driving for them after he had been charged with a long list of traffic offenses in Laurel County. We searched through court records and found that the 39-year-old has been charged with speeding and driving without a license plate multiple times in the past 17 years. Federal investigators say Brewer also tested positive for meth 6 weeks before the fatal crash in Chattanooga. That crash killed 2 children and 4 others. Police tell us Brewer was under the influence when he barreled into 8 cars in a construction zone on I-75 back on June 25th. His employers have not returned our calls, questioning why Brewer was still driving for them.
It's just a terrible situation, you know, and we got kids around here, and somebody out like driving like that, we don't need them around here, you know.
Neighbors like Dustin Bewley are worried because deputies have not been able to find the wanted man, who is being called an imminent hazard to public safety.
It's troubling, you know, just thinking that something like this is going on this close by and locally.
The NTSB has released their preliminary crash report. They say their investigators found that Brewer had been on duty for 50 straight hours in the 3 days leading up to the fatal crash. In Laurel County, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Federal investigators tell us that Brewer is also charged with falsifying his driving records in the days before the crash.
New tonight, the Lincoln County attorney says it is time to take another look at the county's dog ordinance. It comes after a woman was attacked by a pack of 7 dogs in Lincoln County last week. County Attorney Darrell Day says he wants to do something now to prevent another attack from happening. He's proposing changes that require kennels to be better maintained and stricter licenses for them. Police say the 7 dogs owned by Chris Pope escaped from their kennels before the attack. He's now facing charges. Police say 6 of the dogs were captured. The other was killed. Lexington firefighters evacuated about 20 homes in one neighborhood this afternoon because of a gas leak. Columbia gas leaders say a construction crew accidentally hit a 2-inch gas line near the intersection of Oak Hill Drive and Locust Avenue. That's not far from Castlewood Park. People living nearby tell us it didn't take them long to realize something was wrong.
I smelled gas real strong, and I thought I had a gas leak. And I was running all over the house checking everything. And then I run outside and I could really smell the gas. It was so strong.
Columbia gas leaders say the damaged gas main has now been repaired and everyone evacuated has been allowed to return home.